Broadcasting from an undisclosed location under a farm pond somewhere in the Midwest. Your host is Jim Crowley. This is Slickfish Radio. Hello, welcome to another edition of Slickfish Radio. I am your host, Jim Crowley. Flooded here in the Midwest. Oh my goodness, it's just pouring down like crazy. There's tornado warnings and everything. Thank goodness we're in our underground bunker. We should be pretty good to go tonight. Glad you guys are back for another week. As you start chiming in, let us know where you're from. My guest tonight is Mark Lane from Mooskey Lures. We're going to talk about, I just absolutely love that name. I just love that name. We're going to talk about lure building with him, talk about musky fishing. He's got some of the most incredible looking bucktails, but he does other stuff too, other musky stuff too. But he's got some of the most incredible looking bucktails that I've seen. Just absolutely beautiful work, and just another tribute to all you lure builders out there. And I just love seeing that stuff. One of the things that I do every day, as I'm reading through the fishing industry, I do two things every day. I try to spend some time in the Word of God, and also I try to spend some time in the fishing industry, looking what's going on, seeing what the trends are, and seeing some of the new stuff out there. And I love looking at lure builders' pages. I absolutely love seeing the stuff that they come up with and the creativity. And it's so cool to be able to build your own stuff. And I love seeing people's twist on it. And Mark's got some beautiful, beautiful products that we're going to see here in just a little bit. So I'm glad you guys are going to be joining us. Tonight, we're going to talk some musky fishing. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we want to thank our friends over at Lure Parts Online. You can also follow us on Lure Parts Online. You can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on TikTok. Same thing. You can ask some questions there because, hey, we want to help you build lures. The coolest thing about building lures is that in a lot of cases, you can build 3 for the price of one store-bought one. And it's just because you can do something, you can make something that is not offered in a store. And you're going to see a lot of that with Mark's baits. I've never seen some bucktails that are this creative and really a good use of colors and mixing things up. And so he gets a lot of his components from Lure Parts, and just building things like that, you just get to do stuff and give yourself more confidence. So it's just a really, really cool thing to do. So we want to thank Lure Parts. We also want to thank our friends over at Fish 419. As far as I'm concerned, the best sunglasses on the planet. And I've been with them for about 10 years. We're going to give discount codes for both Lure Parts Online and Fish 419 at the end of the show. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Also, our friends over at Casking, they just came out with a new reel. I don't have it yet. It just got added to the Royal Legend series, and it's called The Glory. And so I'm going to find out more information about that, and then I'll be able to tell you that I'll probably end up doing a video on it here in the future. But I've got another cool video coming out tomorrow, and that's going to be on rod building. That leads me to our friends over at Mud Hole. If you're thinking about building rods, now is a great time to get involved in it. And if you sign up for the Mud Hole newsletter, you get 10% off on your first order. And we've put tons of videos out there. So if you're interested in rod building and you're not sure, again, I'm going to tell you, you can email me anytime. Believe me, if I can do it, folks, so can you. And it's so cool to be able to build rods and build baits and catch fish on those. Absolutely awesome. We got some more people chiming in here. Hey, Dale, Dwayne, how you doing? Dwayne, what's up, Jim? Hey, how you doing? Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming on tonight. Also, our friends over at Wired to Fish Coffee, as I say every week, check me out. You know I'm caffeined up. And we also got a great discount code for Wired to Fish Coffee at the end of the show. They just have they got a new sale going on with a new package. If you subscribe to their Facebook page, you can see the sales and deals, that stuff that they're coming out with. So make sure you check out Wired to Fish Coffee. I'll also give you a discount code at the end of the show for that. And our friends over at Dakota Lithium finally got my boat rig. Now I'm just waiting. I may get to use it. The rain keeps up like it is. I may get to use that boat sooner than I thought I was gonna. It's just crazy here, but my boat's all rigged. I'm going to be doing a walkthrough video on the brand new 2025 Miracraft that's loaded with it's bunch of really, really cool stuff. This is going to be probably the best boat that I've ever had from Miracraft. There's some cool changes on it. So we're going to be releasing a video in the next couple of weeks, a walkthrough of that boat, just to show you everything that's on it. And then we're going to hit the road filming. So I'm excited to talk fishing tonight. I'm glad you are all here. And so we're going to bring in our guest here. Mark, how are you, man?
Doing great. Appreciate you having us.
You bet, man. Hey, looking through your stuff, we're just going to get right into it. And
Sure.
it's really a family run thing with you guys. How did you get into, how did you start fishing? Did you grow up that way or what happened? How did you get the bug?
So starting out, to be honest with you, where we live, we did a lot of catfishing and just throwing night crawlers on the floor of the lake and seeing what you could catch at night. And that's what I was really into. And then actually met my wife my senior year in high school and started dating her. And my in-laws took me up north on a fishing trip, and we were actually fishing for pike. And ever since then, I've been hooked on the Esox and the pike and the musky. And I had a guy that I worked with who was big into musky, and he really taught me how to do it. His name was Trip Breen. He fishes Cedar Creek a lot, and he got me into it. He got me to catch my first one, and since then I was hooked. And luckily, I got the rest of my family hooked on it as well.
Yeah, you got the whole addiction going on there, don't you, with the
Yeah, yeah.
with the whole family. So, what was it like catching your first muskie? I mean, I remember my first one. I was probably, I think, 8 or 9 years old.
Sure.
But what was it like catching your first muskie?
Yeah, incredible, really. I mean, I went out a couple times with Trip. He took me out, and you're out there, you're working hard, you're throwing all day, casting, and you start to believe, hey, these things aren't even in this water. What are we doing? You're throwing big, heavy baits and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden, this 40-inch muskie where we were just slams the bait right by the boat, and I knew it was a feeling I wasn't going to be able to shake for a long time.
Yeah, that's cool. And to start with the 40-inch muskie, man, that's not a bad way.
Yeah,
That's an easy way to get hooked. And now, did you catch that fish on a bucktail or what'd you catch it on?
it was actually on something that's called a party crasher. They don't even make the bait anymore. Where we were fishing, there's a lot of standing timber, and the bait did real well. It bounced off the timber. So if anybody listening knows where to get a party crasher, I've been looking for one ever since that day.
Uh, Probably because your buddy took it back and wanted to charge you a lot of money if
You're
he
right.
wanted to keep that lure, right?
Yeah, you're right. Started catching them a little more on a regular basis once we started figuring out technique. You know, fishing for muskie it's a mental game. Um, my nephew and I, Ethan, we joke all the time that when you let your mental lapses happen, the muskie know, and that's when they show up. Because one will just swipe by when you pull your lure out of the
Oh yeah.
water and forget to finish that figure eight or whatever it might be. Um, you got to find ways to stay focused, keep on your technique. When you're really serious about it.
Yeah, and you were mentioning Ethan, and you said this is a family fair. I'm going to put up a
Yeah.
picture of Ethan right there. It looks
Yep.
like he's no slouch when it comes to catching big fish either. That's a pretty nice fish. Looks like it
Yeah.
got into a battle itself there.
Yeah, for sure. And that guy holding that fish is a big dude too. He plays offensive line for a Division II football team. So he's a
I bet.
yeah, he hit the jackpot genetics in the Lane family. So
Yeah, I didn't think he was a chess player, dude. Maybe he is, but I figured football was definitely something he was doing. Now
yeah,
you have got your whole family pretty much involved in this, and
yeah,
so how long has well, first of all, before we even get into that, how did you come up with the name for Mooskey Lures? I absolutely love it. How did that
yeah.
come about?
That's a great question and a pretty good story. Where we used to go fishing for a few years was up around the Hayward area. There's a lake called Moose Lake, and there's a bar with a diner right next to it, and they had a mounted half moose, half muskie, and they said it was a moosky. And then somehow from there we named our dog Moose, and then when we started this whole thing, we just thought, hey, we'll call it Mooskey Lures.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And I might have actually fished that Moose Lake as a kid.
Okay.
That's yeah, you said that's northern Wisconsin, basically,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Or
It's a great
y-
place.
yeah, and so no, that's really really cool. And so then you developed all kinds of things from there. But you started was bucktails the main thing you started with, or so how did that? How did you decide? One of the things I get from people who are thinking about building lures is, well, I think I can do it. I'm not really sure. I don't know if I have the time. What made you, as a lure builder now and having your own business, what made you decide that, hey, I think I really want to start building my own stuff?
Yeah, so everywhere we would go, and we travel a lot of places with the family and go fish in different places, but it seemed like everywhere you went and you talked to the locals and they'd look at you and say, "Hey, you really got to have a black skirt, but you got to have copper blades." So we'd go to the tackle shop. All right, where we get this at? Nothing there. And or we'd have a one year we'd have a great time with a certain color, but you couldn't find it next. So I think that's what led us into, hey, let's do this thing on our own. Let's start making these. So that's what we did. We were making them for ourselves, and then started posting some things online. And then all of a sudden, we had people asking us, "Hey, can I get some of that?" And that's just kind of where it took off from. Yeah.
So I think I'll put a picture up here. Here's Sam.
Yep, that's my older brother. Uh,
Okay.
that's a funny story about that fish. Is we were fishing all week long, and Sam had to stay home for one of my nephews had some workouts to do, and we were fishing all week long. Couldn't have any luck. He shows up, lands that fish, and then it was on. Then it was on fire for all of us. So he broke the seal for everybody.
So for a while, you're like, hey, Sam's got to come along on these trips with me.
You're right.
Right? That's it. That's gonna be now. Next one I'm going to show you here. This is a pretty cool looking muskie, and
Yeah.
this is Charlie, right?
Yep. That's Charlie. That's a northern Michigan muskie there, and it was pretty good when he caught there.
Yeah, that's a cool copper color, and I was
Yeah.
wondering if that water has that stain to it.
It's got a little bit, yeah, and I think that might be one of my favorite parts of musky fishing is just the beauty of them,
Yeah,
and it's just neat. And every muskie's different, and every where you go, every region they're different.
yeah. I really, between the stripes and the dots, and then you just have a green muskie. I always like those ones that have like those dots on them for whatever reason. And then I think one of the most beautiful fish in freshwater that swims, honestly, is a tiger muskie.
You ain't kidding.
And I think they're very few and far between. I think I've only caught maybe one or two in my life,
Yep.
um, but they're absolutely beautiful. Have you ever had any encounters with tiger muskies?
We've caught some small ones, but I'm not sure that we classify. Hey, we've gotten one yet. We've been places where they are there, but we've caught what we think were baby ones, but we're still looking for that moment.
Yeah, it's just they're kind of like they're just they're a neat subspecies of that fish. But when you get one, got another picture here. I think this is Lindsay.
Yep, yep, that's Lindsay. That's a
Yeah,
northern Michigan one there too.
and funny thing is, I think Lindsay's got the big fish, dude.
I'll tell you what. There's been many trips where she's outfished everybody. So,
And the funny thing is, and I say this in seminars sometimes, when it comes to teaching women techniques, when it comes to fishing, women are always better students than men are.
yeah, for sure.
One is because they listen,
Yep,
right? And the other one is because they have patience.
yep.
And so she regularly say, I'm gonna pull that fish up again. That looks like a
Yeah, that's
45. How big is that fish?
it was in the 40s.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I don't remember all the sizes of everyone, but that was definitely in the 40s.
I bet she does. I bet
Yeah,
you.
yeah, you're right. You're
I
right.
bet she. So, what is everybody's job? What is everybody's job at Mooskey Lures? What do they do?
Yeah, we got some people who do apparel for us on our
Mhm.
website at mooskylures.com. You can get some Musky Lures apparel. So we got people that do that. Lindsay and Michelle do a lot of that. They also cut our labels and do the stickers on our blades, the decals
Mhm.
that go on our blades. They make those. They actually put a lot of work on perfecting a a sticker decal that doesn't come off because you got all that motion in the water and everything. They spent a lot of time figuring that out. So through some of our testing and our early time doing all this. Um, and then Ethan and I do a lot of the building, and my brother Sam, he's more of a woodworker,
Mhm.
um, but he's on the business end of everything.
No, that's pretty cool. And if you've got one of your blades there, I those decals in there, I think are really cool
Yeah,
because you can match the colors of your decals. What I noticed to like the skirts that you're doing, and it really be I'm betting that puts off a really cool like a different shape in the water because of that logo.
sure, sure. Yep,
Now,
yep.
are those double eights or double tens?
These are double tens right here.
Oh man.
So we call this one the Canadian Goose right here, and it's marabou with some hackle with it. And a really cool thing that we started using a little bit is these BKK hooks. If I don't know if you
Yeah.
see them real
Yeah.
well, but they got a UV coating on them, and I mean, you get your hand anywhere near those hooks, it seems like it grabs them every time. I almost don't like working with them because of it. You know, I'm tying these lures off, and all of a sudden I know it's in my forearm and everything else because they are sharp if you come near it. And definitely recommend those to anybody.
Yeah, I was going to say I've worked with hooks like that, and especially when you're wire tying and
Yeah,
everything like that, your hands are tired anyway. It's got to be pretty easy once in a while to have one of those hooks.
yeah,
People
absolutely.
don't know it's. I mean, there's tools, and you and I have talked about this before. There are tools that help tie that wire,
Yep,
but it takes a skill. I was looking at some of your wraps, and I know guys who throw bucktails, and they do that. And your wraps are very nice and tight and
appreciate
complete.
that.
And I whether people know that or not, that takes a skill. You can't just do that your first couple times. It takes a while to learn to tie a really, really good bucktail, and you've got to be patient and you've got to have some strength in your hands. I'll tell you one thing, you could easily probably crush a full beer can by now with all the bucktails that you've tied. Because it does. It takes some patience to do that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does. And we actually use a little bit heavier wire, usually like a .061
Oh yeah.
width on it, and try to get one that's going to be durable, especially with we're putting some work into these things and making them look really good, and using some high quality components. So we want something that lasts for our customers. So twisting them, yep, it could be a lot.
Yeah, it does. Hold up one of your baits. Is there like a new color or something that you want to show off? I just want to show people some of the quality that I noticed.
Yeah. So this is our black and orange version.
Oh, that's
Uh,
beautiful.
some marabou and some hackle mixed with it. I actually did a different version with this and
Oh,
did a
is that
10-13 combo. And little shout out to a guy in New York. A lot of the Musky community is pretty tight, and
that's
they'll
cool.
probably know the name. It's Hooch. He custom painted this one here.
That's cool.
One of a kind. All these lures I'm showing too, they're available on our website, so you can pick those up.
Hey,
Um,
hold that bait back up again. I got a
yeah,
question to ask you.
yes, sir.
I've never seen a hook placement like that mid shaft.
Yep. So
And so, what size beads are those, and how did you come up with that? That's a very,
yeah,
very unique hook placement.
yeah. So I believe the beads are 5/16,
Okay.
and so I call this a headhunter hook. So people that haven't fished bucktails, it's going to sit like that a lot of times, maybe with a little bit of tilt, and this
Mhm.
will flow back just a little bit because those musky pike, whatever it is in the e-socks, they like to come after the head of
Right.
whatever they're ambushing. So a
Yeah.
lot of times, if you get one that bites up in here and all you got's that rear hook, which has happened to me early on when I started building these things. And I was devastated when I watched that muskie bite onto it and let go because
Ah.
it stayed away from the back hook. So they'll headhunt it. That's what I call it. I call it a headhunter hook. Sometimes you want those, sometimes you don't, just depending on what size bucktail you're using and stuff like that.
Is it easier to put a headhunter hook on a double blade compared to a single blade? Is that more how that's set it, or or you do it sometimes on both?
I could do it on a single blade. It really that's just going to depend on probably application and what someone's trying to do with their lure. Um, that's what I would say. All these different lures, a lot of times are built custom to what a customer may want.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what we try to meet those needs of what somebody's trying to do with them. Another
Oh,
type of example is
that's cool.
thinner one, and again got some custom painted
Look
hooch
at that.
plates, some just a rainbow trout. This one's got the tailspin on it too,
Yeah.
which just started that this year. Give some great action. We got on our social media, we got some water action of a tailspin. Some people call it a dingle blade.
Yep.
So really love those. Just a little bit of extra action on the back.
Well, you know what? Let's take a break,
Yeah.
and let's take a break, and we come back. I want to talk about that tail spinner thing, and then I want to get into some more about the baits, and then just talk some early season musky strategy with you. So how's that sound?
Sounds great.
All right, good. Well, we'll be back, like Chuck Woolery used to say. Yeah, we'll be back in two. You know what that is. I'm dating myself, but it's
Yeah,
always
no, I
funny
know.
when I have a guest and say that, and I go, "We know that." We'll be back. Two.
At Lure Parts Online, we have everything you need to make your own lures, tie your own flies, pour soft plastics, and more. Easy ordering ensures you get your products quickly. You can build all you need to create your own angling success at Lure Parts Online. Cast King, fueled by innovation through novel concepts and ingenious designs, markets directly to consumers with unprecedented cost-effective e-commerce practices, cutting costs by 30% more on average. Cast King empowers anglers of all skill levels to achieve things never thought possible. Find out more at castking.com. Independent, family-owned, and built on biblical principles, Fish 419 is dedicated to its customers. We believe that outdoor activities, including fishing, bring family and friends together. We provide quality products at realistic prices with superior customer service. Check out our trending styles now at fish419.com. Mudhole is your #1 source for custom fishing rods. Mudhole is the world's largest supplier of rod building supplies, information, education, and instruction. The best components and brands you trust, including MHX, CRB, American Tackle, Pro Products, Fuji, AFCO, and more. It's easy to build your own fishing rods at mudhole.com. With 25% of net profits donated to faith-based and clean water initiatives, Wire to Fish Coffee was founded by folks who love Jesus, a good day of fishing, and great coffee. With every bag of Wire to Fish coffee, you support clean water, the sport of fishing, and helping others with a better quality of life. Find out more, wiretofishcoffee.com. Believing quality is measured by lifespan, harnessing their unique chemistry, engineering, and know-how, Dakota Lithium lasts 4 times longer, powering your passions and backing it up with an 11-year warranty. Find out more at dakotalithium.com. Hi, this is Jim Crowley. Make sure to catch my other show, Jim Crowley Outdoors, where we travel across North America pursuing anything that swims. We always detail our equipment and techniques and more, all in the pursuit of helping you to become a better angler. Jim Crowley Outdoors can be seen on Wire to Fish TV Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on Sling, Flex, Sports Tribal, Bistro TV, Local Now, and more streaming stations.
Hey, and we are back with Mark Lane from Mooskey Lures. Had some people coming in over here saying hi. Crazy weather out there. You're right, Ted. You ain't kidding. David chimed on. Hi, David. How are you? My buddy Jim Colba is on here. Hi, Jim. Glad to have you. I'm sure your daughter Savannah's there with you. Glad to have you guys here tonight. We were talking with Mark Lane, as I said, from Mooskey Lures. And Mark, thanks again for joining us on here tonight. Why don't you pick up one of those tails again before we went to the break? We talked, you brought it up about that tail spinner, and I saw the completely different variations on there. I'm going to pull up a picture just so people can see them a little bit closer. And you've got a bunch, but tell me the theory behind the tail spinner there and how you guys came up with that. I think that's very unique and very cool.
Yeah, it gives it a little bit more flash on the
cool.
back end of it, and the design of ours too is it's never going to get caught in your hook.
Yeah.
It's nice and straight, and it'll hang off there. We do them with clevises, and sometimes we'll do them with like a willow blade with a
Oh, cool.
swivel on the back there, so it keeps it. But we keep them nice and straight so they don't get tangled. Really, it's just that a little bit similar to somebody putting like a grub on the end of their hook.
Sure.
It's the same kind of thing, just a little different action, and also makes some noise. And Musky, they got that lateral line, and they're looking for vibration and like to attack those type things.
Yeah, and I would do that once in a while, especially on pike, where you take just say like a number 5 or number 6 inline spinner with no hair on the back of it when the bite was really, really tough, and sometimes just hang like a 3-inch grub off the
Yep.
back of one of the hooks. Works great. The problem is that 1 or 2 bites and you're replacing that grub, and I can easily see with that spinner. We're in stained or muddy water. You could go with an Indiana or a Colorado blade. If you wanted something a little more clear water, you could go with that willow leaf. And there's all kinds of things you can do with that tail spinner in there.
Yeah, and there's an example of a tail spin with a tomahawk blade as
Oh,
well.
that's cool.
So there's all kinds of different things you can do. I'm glad I got to show this one. It's a pretty cool one that's available online, and some new tinsel out there. It's got like
Wow.
a translucent to it, but when you turn it in a light, it turns copper.
Yeah, turn that sideways. That is a beautiful looking bait, man.
So we're looking forward to throwing that one. This color hasn't seen the water for us yet, but we're looking forward to that. So.
What is that action on that tomahawk blade on the back of a bait like that? What is that? Is that a wider vibration blade then?
Yeah, and it gives some chop.
Yep.
Yeah, it gives that chop to it, and definitely goes wider.
So do you because I saw a lot of tinsel in there and some marabou, do you incorporate rubber into your stuff at all too? Or what are some of your favorite materials that you build the bucktails with?
Sure. We do some like rubber tail, where we'll do twister tails on the back. I'm not a big rubber tail guy. I think my favorite is working with the hackle, and getting the different colors
Oh yeah.
match up. And especially when you can get some cool blades,
My goodness.
you know, I don't know. There's just different applications for different things. There's a time to throw a nice dark lure with some brightness to it
Sure.
mixed in. Really enjoy working with deer hair too.
Oh, look at that.
Tails.
There's a more subtle.
Yeah, we
more-
call this the LSC special for Lake St. Clair.
Mhm.
One of the biggest fish that we know of that's been caught on a Mooskey lure was on these actually.
Really?
Yeah, with one of our guides that uses them. Caught a 47 incher out of Lake St. Clair on that.
Ooh.
So, and super durable, easy to use. Have a lot of pike action too. Some people call them pikers.
Yeah, that's a great size pike. What's that, about a 6-inch bait?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
So-
about, in my opinion, that's about the perfect size pike, bait. I've been to St. Clair, and we were actually doing a smallmouth show years ago, filming a smallmouth show, and had a big old muskie come up, big fish like that, 47. They're just big. And the guy that I was smallmouth fishing with there he goes, it's amazing you can throw big baits out here, but sometimes he goes, that's exactly what you're saying. That 6-inch that you'd be throwing for a pike, because that water can be so clear.
Yep.
Sometimes those smaller baits that you can move faster will really catch a big muskie in that system.
Yeah, and in recent years, we've had a lot of the companies up there that
That's
troll
cool.
and everything that
Yeah.
run these. They put them on downriggers, and they bought a lot of these off of us and use them up there.
Now, what's the notice? Is that a weight in the middle of that bait to keep the bait down a little bit more, or is that just a spacer?
It's a spacer, but it does have some weight to it. So for casting, it'll help you out. But what they would probably end up doing is putting a weight up on the line above it, in front of it, and getting it
Okay.
down.
To getting it down, yeah, in a downrigger
Yep.
or something like that. Now,
Yep.
I'm looking at your bucktail right there, for example, and you tie all that yourself. So when you tie those, go through, if you would, like, how do you tie that, and then how do you finish it off to keep that all together? Just so when people see this, if they're interested in doing their own stuff, how how would you tie and how do you finish that off?
Yeah, so I got a few different styles of vices. When I'm doing the big musky trebles, I got it's kind of a workshop vice, to be honest with you, because I like it to hold that in place because I'm torquing on the thread pretty good. I try to use the heaviest thread I can find and tie that up, and then I'll as I'm working, I'll use some Loctite
Okay.
and keep that thread tight, and then I let that dry, and then as I finish it, I'll finish it with epoxy and
Okay.
get some
Yep.
epoxy just to get a really nice finish where that's never going to come, because you're gonna get some big teeth in it. So we want to make sure it at least gets through about 4 or 5 musky for you before it starts to at least chip at all.
Yeah. Well, if you got one bait and you're getting 4 or 5 muskies on it, you're doing pretty good. That's
Yeah, you ain't kidding.
Yeah, and interesting that you said that about that Loctite because I will use Loctite sometimes when I'm putting the tip on a rod because I don't trust sometimes the other stuff. And Loctite is easy to get off after I heat it up, but I've never had one come loose. It's just really good stuff like that. And the epoxy, I'm guessing, is probably like the same epoxy that you would finish off rod guides with.
Yep, yep,
Is it a 2-part epoxy that you mix together?
correct.
Okay. So what kind of and this is just for my knowledge, but what kind of epoxy do you use?
Oh, I can't give away everything here.
Oh, okay. I didn't know because
Honestly, we've used several different.
I use Threadmaster is what I use.
Yeah,
So I just okay.
We use several different. I don't really have a favorite.
Okay.
Just kind of we got 4 or 5 different ones that we've used.
Yeah. Because yeah, like you said, they're about bulletproof once you
Yeah.
put them on there. So what are now what you said I think when we were talking before, you do leaders and other things too. So what else does Mooskey Lures offer?
Yeah, we do leaders. That's kind of the big new thing that we've put in. We've got 9 inches and we've got 12 inches. We've
Great.
got the 49 strand, which are becoming pretty popular again. Very flexible, don't have memory to them. Some really good ones. We also offer a lifetime guarantee on our crimps.
Okay.
So if you would ever have one of these leaders and one of those crimps comes undone or anything like that, we'll replace it for you. But that ain't going to happen.
Okay.
These things ain't going to fail on you. So very trustworthy. Highly recommend you checking those out. Jerk bait stuff like that. We got the straight wire.
There you go. I was just going to ask that. Cool.
Yep. We got straight wire leaders too.
What pound test are you using for the jerk bait or glide bait leaders?
This jerk bait leader here. It's a straight wire. It's a .045. Is that what you meant, or
yeah.
the line?
Yeah, it ain't going nowhere.
No. It's nice and strong. So, and then this 12-inch leader here, the 49 strand, it's 120 pound. And then we got them, depending on what people prefer. We got 100 pound and we got 130 pound is what we offer right now. So
that's all. Now I'm a big proponent of wire leaders too. I know some guys use fluorocarbon and things like that. I've never been that guy. Are you more of a wire leader guy yourself too?
Yeah, I've kind of moved. I've moved to that 49 strand.
Mm-hmm.
But before that, I was all fluoro. I'll be honest with you, especially musky fishing, it's about what you got confidence in.
Sure.
Because you're out there, you're going to have mental stress on, hey, I'm out here. What am I doing wrong? They're not biting. So you got to go with what you believe works.
Sure, and I've always said that to me, musky fishing or even going after big pike, it's more like big game hunting than it is fishing.
Sure is.
You're not going to have a pattern so much in musky fishing. Muskies are spot related fish. They're going to pull up that area and they're going to maintain that area because that's going to be their home. That's where they feed. That's what it's all around. You're not going to be, hey, I caught one in a cove and I'm going to go to another cove. It's not like bass fishing. Muskies and big pike to me have always been spot related.
Yeah.
Spot related fish. And what's your theory on that?
Yeah, I think if you have like a home water or you're somewhere for a while, you definitely can pattern them. You got to figure out what they're doing. But what I'll tell you is that pattern will change day to day, and sometimes it'll change midday. You got to figure out what they want. I think as musky fishermen, a lot of times, and I've fallen into this trap. You got your favorite bait. That doesn't mean that's what the fish want.
Right.
So you got to figure out where they're at. And the other thing I would say is musky are always going to be where the bait is. So that's a lot of what we do is we locate bait, figure out what their depth is. Are they Are they shallow? Are they mid? Or are they down at the bottom? And you try to figure that out because muskie don't like people don't realize muskie don't like to work real hard. They're actually a little bit of a lazy fish. You know, they're like that big defensive tackle. They can go fast for about 3 seconds, and they'll go nuts, but they're going to expend that energy fast. So they're trying to conserve it. They want to cruise around. They want to be around bait, and when their chance happens, is when they're going to go for it.
Now, so with the season, finally we're starting to get some warmer weather a little bit, even with this crazy weather. When you're musky fishing in the spring, what are some of the things that you're going to be looking for? It's just a regular natural lake body of water. I know rivers are different, just like with every other fish. But where are you going to start looking, and what are going to be some of the baits that you're going to start off your season with?
Yeah, so early spring, you're probably looking at pre-spawn, and the muskie are starting to set up to do all their actions and everything. A lot of places down here, what I'd call south, where Illinois or Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, a lot of times the muskie aren't actually spawning; they're just going through the motion of it, and they're going through the process. It's hard in a lot of those lakes for the muskie to reproduce naturally, so they just kind of go through the motions and they do everything. But probably downsizing baits, no matter what you're using. Our version is we're going to go to like 8s, 9s, 7s. This
Okay,
is a 7-8 right here.
that's cool
and,
looking
and,
bait.
and downsizing it. A lot of times in the spring, you're dealing with muddy water.
Hmm.
Like you said, you're dealing with all that rain right now.
Yeah,
I think bucktails are great because they give you a lot of vibration.
sure.
Muskie do not see very well. A lot of people think they do. They go a lot off of what they're smelling, tasting, and what they're feeling.
Yeah, I've noticed in just on camera work before, especially on pike and muskie. On what's really interesting is usually when they open their mouth right before they strike. When we slow down the camera, right before they strike, they almost kind of turn to the side just slightly before they hit something. And I've heard theories because when they open their mouth, the way their eyes are structured, they can't see anything. It
Yeah,
is and so it's been really interesting to slow down cameras and see that slight little
yeah,
turn to the side. And that's why I think bucktails are, I don't know if God made muskies for bucktails or bucktails for muskies, right? It always just seems like that is the number one bait that if you really had to have confidence in something when it comes to musky fishing, you really can't go wrong with a bucktail. You've probably had people, what do you think they think it is? Who cares? I just
yeah,
know that they are attracted for whatever they think that is,
yeah.
whatever food source they think that is. I just know they like it, and I think that's why it's one of the most popular baits out there. Is the seasons progress, then when do you throw your biggest baits? Like I've noticed you have like a lot of double bladed baits.
Yeah.
When does that depend on the body of water? Does it depend on the time of year, or sometimes both?
I'll tell you what, it probably depends on first is the angler's confidence in it. And
Okay.
like
That's all.
another
That's beautiful.
another double 10. This is
Yeah.
marabou and tinsel mixed. But angler's confidence in the fall, people like to throw the big baits
Hmm.
and blades. You could do it some in the summer. And then depending on weather, it might not be the time of year. It might be the weather and you want to slow one down and just cruise on it. Some people don't like pulling double tens because it does give you a little more pull.
Hmm.
So it really just depends on what application you're trying to do. But I think when it comes to musky fishing, it comes more to what does the angler have confidence in.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. I've always said if you don't know what your lures are doing on every single cast, and you don't believe in what you're doing, you're not going to catch as many fish. You're just
Yep.
not.
Yep.
I believe that 100%. I gotta show something here because you
Yeah.
mentioned apparel, and I actually got one of these. I love these shirts. I
There you
absolutely
go.
love them,
Yep.
and they've got a lot of really cool apparel on their website. So when you guys go to lures. It's MooskeyLures.com, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah, you got to go to MooskeyLures.com and check out some of the cool apparel. But I love this. I'll be wearing that this year. I absolutely love that shirt. Before we go, Mark, thanks for all your insight. I love your craftsmanship on your baits. That's one of the reasons I wanted to have you on. I think you're doing something special compared to a lot of baits that I've seen. I think they're innovative colors, they're innovative designs. I love the stuff that you're doing, and they're obviously going to help people catch more fish. So if they want to find out more about Mooskey Lures, tell them where they can find you, how they can order. Let them have it.
Yeah. So you can go to MooskeyLures.com. We got our website and everything's for sale there. We try to keep things stocked up. Again, these things are handmade, so it takes a little while. So we try to keep up with it. Our apparel's on there as well. You can follow us on TikTok, Mooskey Lures. You can follow us on Instagram. Just look up Mooskey Lures, and Facebook as well. You can message us on any of those platforms.
Yeah, and just some absolutely incredible work. What a great thing for you and your family to be doing. I think that's awesome. Thanks so much for your time tonight, Mark, and continued success. God bless you and your family, and wish you the best. I'll probably be ordering a couple before I go to Ontario this year.
There you go, Jim. Hey, we appreciate everything you do for anglers.
All right, man. God bless you. We'll see you soon. Take care.
We'll see you, Jim.
All right, that was great. I love his baits. One of the guys at the All Canada show introduced me to him this year. And now for our friends over at Lure Parts Online, you can always go over there and build anything you want with 40,000 SKUs of things to choose from. Holy cow, build your own plastics, making your own baits, tying your own flies. Go to Lure Parts Online, put in that code JCOutdoors10. You'll get 10% off your order. Also, make sure you follow us on Facebook and TikTok, because here's the secret. There are separate discount codes there for you as well, and you can hook up and really save some cash, right? So make sure you go follow us on Lure Parts Online, and we will take care of you. Our friends over at Cast King, everybody always wants this code. You go to Cast King, and whatever you buy at Cast King over there, always make sure you put in that code JC52AFF. That's 20% off of anything and everything at Cast King. So basically what I'm telling you again, once you have that code, you never pay retail again when you shop at Cast King. And make sure you give it to high school anglers or other people who are getting into the sport. Save them some money. We want them fishing. We don't want them spending outrageous amounts of money on it. And Cast King is an absolutely wonderful company to be able to do that. So please, that code JC52AFF, you get 20% off at Cast King. My good friends, Craig and Cindy Claus over at Fish 419. Absolutely love these guys. Love the company. What a fantastic company that gives back to anglers. They're always involved in something, and great Polaroid glasses, both fishing and shooting glasses. You can see the Crowley Clay Crushers over there, which are my shooting glasses over there, as well as my Slick Fish models of sunglasses over there, and all the other in-style lens and frames that they have over there. Please go to Fish 419, put in the code ThanksJC, and you get 15% off there. I've already told you about our friends at Mudhole. If you're interested in rod building, just go to Mudhole. You sign up for the newsletter, 10% off your first order. Now, our friends over at Wired to Fish TV, Wired to Fish Coffee, no other coffee company gives as much back to the sport of fishing, clean water, and faith-based initiatives than Wired to Fish Coffee. Their medium and dark roasts are absolutely phenomenal. Please give them a try over at that. I am finishing up right here. Right to the last drop, baby. That's good stuff right there. All right, so that's put in that code SlickFish. You get 15% off. Then our friends over at Dakota Lithium. If you're looking for lithium batteries, they have an 11-year warranty, and you get a 10% off code there. So we got another couple comments coming in. Mindy M says, learned a lot from you. Well, Mindy, we sure appreciate you joining us tonight. That's great. And of course, we got to thank our friends one more time at Lure Parts Online, Fish 419, Cast King, Mudhole, Wired to Fish Coffee, and Dakota Lithium. Got more social media going out for the rest of this week. Make sure you follow Jim Crowley Outdoors, if you would, please, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Always got some fun, interesting stuff there. Just want you all to catch more fish. Until next time, God bless you. We'll see you soon.